Jonathan Randall, and welcome to How You Like Me Now. It's good to be back. I didn't record last week because it was Thanksgiving and the studio was closed. Not that I really give a shit about the holiday. I do hope that everybody out there had a nice one and didn't fight with their family too much. I had some great shows in Yonkers. I want to thank everybody who came out. This Thanksgiving just kind of hit different for me, as the whole world has been watching Israel absolutely demolish Gaza and murder its people. Israel may claim that it's doing so for self-defense, but it seems more like collective punishment and wanting to drive Palestinians from Gaza so Israel could take that land and any resources it has from the Palestinians too. One thing there was to be thankful for was a ceasefire. Now, many people think it was more than just a coincidence that the ceasefire lined up with Thanksgiving and the most popular shopping day of the year. I mean, the West loves Israel, but not as much as capitalism. I'm glad the hostages taken by Hamas are starting to be returned, and that Palestinians who were being held prisoner by Israel, most of which without a trial or even charges being brought against them, are being freed. The world has been so focused on the hostages taken from Israel and posters being put up and taken down everywhere that they have been totally ignoring the over 1,000 Palestinians, including hundreds of children, who have been taken under administrative detention by Israel, which is essentially a form of kidnapping. Imprisoning people without a trial or even telling them what they did wrong is no bueno, and not the actions of a democracy, no matter how many times you call yourself one. It's worth noting that the hostages that were taken by Hamas have been saying that they were treated well, and one even wrote a thank you note to Hamas, which is kind of crazy considering how Israel has been portraying Hamas. Now, Israel just says this letter is propaganda, but it's kind of crazy that they will call anything propaganda considering the obscene amount of lies that come out of Israel. It's so disturbing. And actually, they only highlight how Israel has been lying about the treatment of the Palestinian people and the reality of their oppression for 75 years. Now, I totally understand that it's not nice to take someone hostage, but the way these hostages are saying they were treated by Hamas is completely different than the way Israel has been presenting Hamas. Not only does Israel just flat out lie, but then it blames the Palestinians for the things it did. Haaretz and other Israeli news sources have gone on record that during Israel's response to the Hamas attack on October 7th, it killed its own people and then blamed those deaths on Hamas. Apparently, Israel will kill Israelis too and then blame it on Hamas for using them as human shields. The Hannibal directive is a procedure used by the Israeli military to prevent the capture of Israeli soldiers by killing them. Because according to the IOF, an Israeli soldier is better dead than abducted. Now, Israel claims it stopped using this directive in 2016, but if you listen to the testimonies from members of the Israeli military, security from the kibbutzes that were attacked, and Israelis who experienced Hamas's attack, they tell a very different story. At Kibbutz Be'eri, a member of the security team went on record saying, and I quote, "The commanders in the field made difficult decisions, including shelling houses on their occupants in order to eliminate the terrorists along with the hostages." In an interview on Israeli radio, an Israeli woman said that Israel undoubtedly, this is her word, not mine, killed Israelis during the gun battles with Hamas. She said, and I quote, "They eliminated everyone, including the hostages." At Eretz Crossing, Israel requested an airstrike on its own facility because it was being overrun by Hamas, even though it was filled with Israeli civil administration officers and soldiers. Israeli pilots of Apache attack helicopters have also told Israeli media that they killed their own people on 10/7, being unable to differentiate between Hamas and Israelis. not only did Israel kill its own people, but then it presented images of those deaths as example of Hamas's brutality when in fact they were done by Israeli tanks and helicopters. Israel has also killed about 50 of the hostages taken by Hamas during its missile strikes. So maybe people want to rethink putting up posters while chanting no to a ceasefire, and people should perhaps be angrier at Netanyahu and the rest of his government for actually killing the Israeli hostages rather than people tearing down posters of them. Instead of focusing on getting someone who tears down a poster fired, they should be removing Netanyahu and members of the Knesset like Bezalel Smotrich and Itamar Ben-Gvir, who are responsible for the hostages being killed and the treatment of Palestinians that led to the attack on October 7th. But it seems supporters of Israel want to put attention everywhere but where it should be, which is ending the occupation. The phrase "from the river to the sea" has been getting a ton of attention lately. Elon Musk said he will suspend people on X for using it. Rashida Tlaib was censured in Congress for using it. In Germany, the slogan has been criminalized, and there is an increasing number of people who say the slogan is nothing but a call for Jewish genocide, not only in Israel, but everywhere. It's absolutely insane to me that people want to get all bent out of shape about a slogan claiming it calls for the murder of Jews while Israel actively murders thousands of Palestinians, which seems to be part of their playbook. Accuse Palestinians of wanting to do what they are actually doing to the Palestinians. Now, while there are people who use the slogan to express that they want Israel gone, it has many meanings. But most people that use it do so to express that they want the liberation of Palestine and dignity for its people, where they'll have equal rights. Israel is hell-bent on presenting Palestinian liberation not only as being anti-Israel, but anti-Jewish. I think it's quite unfortunate that supporters of Israel would rather focus on a slogan than the fact that Israel has been indiscriminately bombing Gaza, killing over 14,800 people, including 6,000 children. But they prefer telling people that support Palestine what they mean when they protest, rather than calling out Israel's continued war crimes. It seems to me that supporters of Israel interpret the slogan to fit their narrative. They don't want there to be a Palestine, and they will do whatever they can to prevent one, including trying to convince the world that a call most people use to express a desire for the dehumanization and oppression of the Palestinian people to end actually means killing all Jews, which simply isn't true. You know, one of the big lies that has been totally debunked is that 40 babies were killed and beheaded on October 7th. While this has been proven false multiple times, there are still people out there that think it's true. And people are claiming that Hamas was killing babies, even though Haaretz has released a list of everyone killed on 10/7, and there is only one child under the age of 4. Now, I think one is too many. But the fact that Israel and so many of its supporters continue to spread these types of lies and propaganda is sickening. The origin of this hideous lie is actually from an extremist Israeli settler who incited the riots in the Palestinian town of Hurara earlier this year and called to have it be wiped from the map. That's what Palestinians are dealing with. Fanatical settlers leading riots against them and calling for their villages to be wiped out, and then spreading lies about them, which the Western world is just so eager to spread. By the way, the riot in Hurara that this idiot led was called a declaration of war by Hamas. And it wasn't the first time this settler called for war crimes against Palestinians, and I'm sure it won't be the last. Extremist settlers like him need to be stopped and labeled what they are: terrorists. I recently made a short about Israelis invoking Judaism and weaponizing anti-Semitism to get away with their crimes. It's on my YouTube and all my socials. Please check it out. If you're not following me on social media, please do. at Jonathan Randall across all platforms. Also, I would really love it if you showed me support on my Ko-fi page. I will put the link to that in the description. It doesn't matter if you think you're on Israel's side or Palestine's side. If you care about human life and want peace in the Middle East, the only chance there is for that to happen is to end the occupation. Continuing to subjugate, murder, and drive Palestinians from their homes will never make Israel safe and will only continue to reflect poorly on Jewish people everywhere. If you are against Hamas's attack on October 7th and don't want something like that to ever happen again, murdering thousands of Palestinians isn't the way to prevent it. Ending the violent oppression they have been facing at the hands of Israel for 75 years is. Free Palestine. I'm Jonathan Randall. How you like me now?